This time, lesbian kissing. Well, hello there. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about lesbian kissing. Yes, we are. So, yeah, get your stuff ready. We're gonna need some tissues. I'm trying to read this with a straight face. Anyways, let's get started. Professor Julia Carr took a deep breath, smoothing down her skirt as she approached the staff room. It was her first day at the new university, and while she'd already met most of the faculty, there was one professor whose name had been on everyone's lips, Professor Elise Navarro, the renowned historian who'd been featured on numerous documentaries and podcasts. Julia had watched several interviews with Elise and couldn't help but admire her intelligence and passion for her work. But it was the way Elise's eyes crinkled at the corners when she smiled, or how her dark hair framed her face in a way that made Julia's heart skip a beat. When their eyes met across the crowded room, Julia felt a jolt of electricity shoot through her. Had Elise noticed? Was she aware of the effect she had on people? Julia wasn't usually this flustered, but Elise was different. There was something about her presence that both intrigued and intimidated Julia. As the introductions continued, Julia found herself stealing glances at Elise, noticing the way she threw her head back when she laughed or how she leaned in to examine artifacts during a shared lecture. Elise, too, seemed to be drawn to Julia, though Julia couldn't tell if it was purely professional curiosity or something more. Days turned into weeks and Julia found herself planning her outfits carefully, hoping to catch Elise's attention. She would wear a bold red lipstick or a sunflower yellow dress just to have an excuse to walk past Elise's office and flash her a smile. Elise would often linger by the window, as if waiting for something or someone, and when their eyes met, she would smile knowingly, making Julia's heart race. One rainy afternoon, Julia was locked in her office, grading papers when a knock interrupted her concentration. Startled, she looked up to see Elise standing in the doorway, her hair damp and a book in her hand. "Is everything all right?" Julia asked, suddenly self-conscious about the state of her office. "I, saw you come in and thought I'd join you," Elise replied, stepping inside. "You never told me what kind of tea you liked," Julia said, rushing to the kettle to make tea. This was it, she thought, her chance to connect with Elise on a more personal level. But why did she feel so nervous? "Actually, I don't drink tea," Elise confessed, taking a seat. "Coffee though. I could go for some coffee. There's a place around the corner I've been wanting to try. Would you like to join me?" Julia's heart soared. "I'd love to," she said, unable to hide her excitement. At the coffee shop, they talked for hours, delving into topics that ranged from their favorite childhood books to their career aspirations. Julia learned that Elise was passionate about preserving ancient texts and that she had a mischievous sense of humor. In turn, Elise was captivated by Julia's enthusiasm for teaching creative writing and her dedication to her students. By the time they returned to the university, the sky had darkened and the first raindrops began to fall. "Do you want to walk together?" Elise asked, her eyes shining in the dim light. Julia nodded, her heart pounding. As they walked, their steps echoed on the empty sidewalk. "I've never seen you at these events before," Julia said, breaking the silence. "There was a conference I was supposed to attend," Elise replied, "but I postponed it because of this." She gestured vaguely toward the darkening clouds. "I hate ruining plans," she added with a sigh. Julia reached out, taking Elise's hand in hers. "Don't ever apologize for prioritizing your happiness," she said softly. Elise squeezed Julia's hand, her thumb brushing against her knuckles. The warmth spread through Julia's arm, making her feel both giddy and nervous. Back at the university, the rain had intensified, drumming against the windows like 1,000 tiny drummers. Sitting in her office, Elise couldn't shake off the image of Julia's hand in hers. She replayed the memory in her mind, savoring the feeling of Julia's soft skin under her fingertips. Elise had never been attracted to women before, but something about Julia's kindness and intelligence ignited a spark within her. As the days passed, Elise found herself daydreaming about Julia. She thought about Julia's infectious laugh, her passion for teaching, and the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled. Elise knew she had to act if she didn't want to lose Julia. One evening, Elise stopped by Julia's office, a bouquet of sunflowers in hand, her favorite flower. I wanted to give these to you," Elise said, her cheeks flushing slightly. "They reminded me of you," Julia replied, her eyes lighting up. "Oh, really?" "Yeah," Julia said, taking the flowers. "Why?" "Because they're bright, cheerful, And a little goofy, Elise said with a smile. Just like you, Julia added, her heart skipping a beat. Elise held Julia's gaze, her feelings growing stronger with each passing moment. Julia, I need to tell you something, she began, her voice trembling slightly. Before she could reveal her true feelings, a knock on the door startled them. Both women jumped, breaking the intensity of the moment. Come in, Julia called out, and when the door opened, they were met with the smiling faces of their colleagues. We thought we'd surprise you with cupcakes, a colleague said, holding out a plate. It's a belated welcome to the team, another added. Julia and Elise exchanged a look, a mixture of surprise and amusement in their eyes. They had almost confessed their feelings for each other, but now it would have to wait. As the weeks went by, Elise became a regular sight at Julia's office, bringing her coffee or stopping by to discuss their upcoming seminar. Their friendship deepened, and Elise knew it was time to take the plunge. She invited Julia to a secluded cabin she rented for the summer, hoping it would be the perfect setting to confess her love. The drive to the cabin was filled with comfortable silence, punctuated by the occasional shared smile. When they arrived, they unpacked together, their hands brushing, sending shivers down their spines. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they sat on the porch swing, sipping wine. Julia, Elise began, her voice soft. There's something I need to tell you. Julia turned to her, her eyes full of warmth. What is it? She asked. Elise took a deep breath. I love you, she whispered. The words hung in the air between them. Julia's heart raced. She had suspected Elise's feelings, but hearing them spoken aloud took her breath away. I love you too, she replied, her voice shaking slightly. As the summer progressed, their love blossomed, nurtured by the quiet moments by the lake and the cozy evenings by the fireplace. They explored hidden trails, swam in the cool waters, and shared stories under a canopy of stars. One starlit night, as they lay on the cabin porch, Elise traced patterns on Julia's arm, her fingers lingering. Do you remember the first time I saw you? Elise asked softly. How could I forget? Julia replied, smiling. You were standing by the blackboard, and I knew I had to get to know you. Elise chuckled. I was a bit intimidated by you, to be honest. You seemed so confident and accomplished. Well, you were quite the mystery, Julia said, and I couldn't help but want to uncover that mystery. Their fingers intertwined, and they remained silent, basking in the warmth of their love and the magic of the summer night. The weeks flew by, filled with laughter, love, and a deepening connection. As their summer together drew to a close, they knew that their love story was just beginning. They faced the future hand in hand, ready to navigate life's adventures together.